Hi, everyone. My name is Ron Bautista. I'm the president of Progressive Democrats of Hudson County, and today we have Celeste Ruggia. Did I say it
Yeah.
correctly?
Yep.
Perfect.
Perfect. No one gets it right, so thank you.
Thanks. Is your first name Cordelia as well?
Yes.
But you go by
So
Celeste.
I go by Celeste, but I'm fine with either. So no worries to anyone. You can call me either or. I respond to both.
Okay, perfect. And you just some housekeeping rules. I'm going to start by, we want to be very inclusive, so I'm going to start by describing myself, and then you could do the same as well, Celeste. So I have white background. I just got a haircut, so I have short hair with a partition line on the side, a short beard, trimmed, and actually I have brown glasses today, brown frame, thick eyebrows, and a big smile because today we have Celeste to have this conversation with. So go ahead as well.
Thank you for having me. I have yellow background with my mom. Really loves the culture of Spain, so she had these tiles printed, inspired by tiles from the Alhambra in Spain. I'm wearing a blue shirt. I have very purple hair, and my eyebrows are slowly disappearing, but that's okay.
And I have a blue shirt. I forgot to mention as well. But let me make a bit of introduction of you. So Celeste Ruggia, she's a lifelong resident of Jersey City, who works for a local skincare company called Pholk Beauty.
Yes.
And she's also an active member of the Knitty Gritty, a local group of women in Jersey City who are resisting and persisting through education and action. Celeste is running for Democratic County Committee for Jersey City's Ward F, District 29, to create a more cohesive community. So welcome, Celeste.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, this is cool. It's very exciting to run. This is my first time running for something of this style. So yeah, I'm excited to see how it goes.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think you've been doing a great job already having the conversations with the neighbors and
Yeah.
just being very involved locally. I think that you're a natural person to run for the seat. Tell us a bit about yourself, your family, the neighborhood, your passions. We want to get to know you a bit better.
So I'm 26 years old. I've lived in Jersey City all of my life. I lived in the Heights for most of it, and then the last year and a half I've been living in Bergen Lafayette area, and I come from a European American poet / writer and an African American social justice warrior, an advocate for New Jersey. Jersey City is a wonderful, big, very diverse place, and I love all the different pockets of people and different communities in Jersey City that it has. And one of the reasons I'm running, my biggest passion is that even though it is a diverse city, there are still divides in the neighborhood. And I think it's really important, even though a committee person is not like a big grand title, starting small and starting at the bottom is kind of how you create more cohesiveness in a big city like Jersey City, where you have so many neighborhoods that are all completely different from each other. And so my biggest goal is to sort of introduce other neighborhoods to Bergen Lafayette and build those relationships with other neighborhoods, because I honestly feel that we're a little bit ignored, and that's not really great.
Yeah, and you have that possibility of having lived in the Heights and then moving to this new neighborhood for you. But it's Jersey City overall, and you lived in Jersey City all your life.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that people that you have discovered at your neighborhood that maybe people would be able to see and understand better, like the roots of the neighborhood and what's going on in the neighborhood?
Well, one thing that definitely, well, first and foremost, what I really love about Bergen Lafayette is that, almost everyone in the neighborhood kind of knows each other. And it's almost like its own little city within a city, and everyone knows there's like the two bodegas that everyone goes to. There's the Chinese food spot that everyone goes to. There are different small little businesses that have been there forever. And the people of Bergen Lafayette are tried and true to those businesses and the local supermarkets, whether it's because of convenience or just support. And I really like that about the area. One of the things that I've noticed transitioning from the Heights to Bergen Lafayette is there's just lack of attention. In my neighborhood, my mom and a lot of her friends, they kind of really banded together just to be like, hey, there are a lot of things we need to deal with that's not being dealt with because, in the past, the Heights was considered a not so great neighborhood. And, I feel like in Bergen Lafayette, there's no, like, it's just not being taken care of. And it's really unfortunate because it is a really rich neighborhood and it has a lot to offer, and it's just being pushed aside by other things. And I see a lot of potential for that neighborhood. And when I say that, I do not mean, overdevelopment or, just gentrifying it up the roof, but just giving it that little bit of sprucing up and letting people know that it's a welcoming neighborhood and that it has things to offer. Like Moore's Bar on Monticello Avenue is a great bar. My parents and I, before COVID, went there all the time to listen to jazz. And, it's a really fun, cozy place to go. There's a really great cafe on Monticello, Snapdragon. There's also the Cottage on Monticello, which are wonderful little eateries to go. In Snapdragon, they have you can go if you want to work outside of home, you can go there and they have internet. It has these small little pockets of activities and the people are just really friendly. I really enjoy the neighborhood and I enjoy the community there. And I just think it's important that they're noticed and that, people, bring, their support to that community and provide business to that community because it has that. And, we're just being put to the corner.
I hear you. And I think that you make a valid point is that we have to look out for the neighbors, right? And thinking that when we come into a neighborhood that we are appreciative and also that to realize that it's not just, okay, so like the fact that we do deserve nice things, right? That we can enhance the neighborhood without having to push away the community that's already there. It's more about how do we build upon what's already been built and building up from that character that already the neighborhood has. And part of that character of the neighborhoods are the people that live in it, right?
100%. And I think one of Jersey City's biggest issues, and everyone goes back and forth on development, but I think there's this misunderstanding of what it means to help push a neighborhood forward that may be quote unquote lacking. Their first assumption is, well, if you put a nice apartment building with really high rent, guess what, that's going to make it a nicer neighborhood. And then it's like, okay, but now you have this insane rent and only outsiders can afford it for the most part. You don't provide, a low-income housing option. And now you've moved out all the people that were already there that had no reason to leave because instead of, as you said, building upon what is already there and expanding it and helping it grow into just being what it is already, but a little bit better, you put things on top of it, or you get rid of things, or you move things out. And, I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir with a lot of people in Jersey City, but that really upsets me. That it just is something, just if you cover it up, then it's fine. Everything, you've saved the neighborhood. And it's like, that's not what it's about. There are a lot of great opportunities in Bergen Lafayette. There are a lot of wonderful small businesses. And as I said, there's wonderful people. And I think it's just really important to sort of see how we can help them grow without sending them away or just putting new things in there that are just going to shut down what already exists. And, to me, that's one of my biggest, my biggest things for, running for committee person is that I want the people of Bergen Lafayette to have, an access point, a bridge, a voice to their local government so that they can speak up upon these things. Because a lot of people, it's just they don't have the information, they don't know who to go to, and they're just, they have a lot of opinions. And, I have issues about this, this, and this. Like, I've had people go on for hours to my face about, like, the problems they have with the neighborhood. But they're telling me, but I'm not necessarily the right person, And then it's like, well, here's the phone number of X office. Here's the email of X person. And they're like, and I can just reach out. And I was like, yes, your city is, the city is responsible for you. They are supposed to help you. And instead, to me, it feels like they're kind of just like, they're putting up walls for certain neighborhoods. And I really think Bergen Lafayette is one of those neighborhoods. And it's like, why are you shutting these people out instead of, hearing their concerns? Obviously, you can't take on every project that every person in the city asks for. Jersey City's huge. But I think it's more important to focus on what we already have and build that up and expand that instead of just bringing in new things that, it just becomes a waste.
And it's the way we can coexist, right? It's if we don't have the open communications. I give you an example. Like if there would be neighbors of mine. I'm in Hoboken, of course, although I have my heart in Jersey City as well, because I graduated from New Jersey City University. I graduated from Hudson County Community College. But, something that the neighbors would tell me is like, oh, why, they would be upset about, for example, bump outs. And then, but once I actually approach them and say, hey, but, the bump outs they have this functionality that they shorten the crosswalks so that people who are crossing the street can get to safety a lot faster.
Right.
The drivers a lot less. Also, so that the drivers don't make sharp turns, right? And then that way it protects people. It helps so that it doesn't. So cars that park by the crosswalk don't do that, because then you can't see as a pedestrian and you can't see as a driver also, because then the car's blocking you. So, but once we're able to explain that and actually have that conversation of why things are happening in our neighborhood, then they're like, oh, okay, that makes sense, right? And so that's exactly what you were just talking about. That's what we need. We need to have those conversations about what's going on in the city, and then be able to point them in the right direction. And I've mentioned it to you and to the other candidates as well. What we want to do is make sure that people don't have to start from scratch, either running for office or once they're in the neighborhood and they're like, hey, so I have this issue in my neighborhood. How do we go about fixing it? They're going to have people like you that are going to be able to start like having those connections with the community and the city officials.
Yeah, that's really the goal. And also, part of it is also I want to sort of set, this is a tacky example, but like a trail or a yellow brick road that maybe pushes someone locally who has been there for longer than I have to be like, wait, I can do this myself as well. And 2 years from now, I could run for committee person. Like one of my coworkers, she's lived in Bergen Lafayette for 25 years. And, she was like, I didn't even know we had someone like that. Mm-hmm. Like, we have a committee person? And I was like, yes. And she was like, and anyone can run? And she was like, I know plenty of people who would love to, and, it was, not that she's an uneducated person, but she, we just don't, I feel like in the Heights, and it's also about, the community engagement as well. That's, it goes both ways. But in the Heights, like when people are canvassing, going door to door, or giving out information about what's going on in the city, I always got that information. I knew exactly what was going on. I always know what construction's happening ahead of them putting up the parking signs, like just all of that. In Bergen Lafayette, information is lacking. It's just lacking. And so a lot of people are sitting here confused and just sort of letting things happen because they don't know what to do. And that really frustrates me. It really frustrates me because it's not hard information to get or to give out. And it's kind of like, why would you it almost feels like they're trying to prevent the people of Bergen Lafayette to obtain this kind of information and these freedoms and, you know, I don't want to say powers, but yes, you know, these powers to, like, you know, serving their community as well, and, you know, being able to stand up for their community, whether they are an elected official or not, you know. I mean, it's nuts. And it's a lot of people just fending for themselves, like taking on things for themselves, when it's like, you know, you can talk to someone about that. There's someone who can do that for you. There's X, Y, and Z resources. And they're like, oh, I didn't know that. And it's like, it's insane.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. And could you give us a bit of a tour around your district? Kind of some directions, some maybe reference points, things that you see in your within your district, so that people know, like, oh, that's the district I'm at, and that's where or my uncle or my cousin lives at, that they can say, hey, vote for Celeste Ruggia in that district.
So I currently live at 42 Westervelt Place, off of Cornelius Avenue. I am where the hilltop sort of comes down on Summit. I'm near Arlington Park. You know, some new terms for Bergen Lafayette is Berry Lane, if you know it as that. You know, I'm like 5 blocks off of Monticello Avenue. I'm near a newer development, the Whitlock. Whitlock Lofts is a building. I don't know if that's a point of reference. Arlington Park is a wonderful, cute little small park. Definitely recommend it for parents who are new to the area or just haven't really taken the time to explore. It's a nice little park. And Berry Lane Park is very nice as well. It has it has like a walk around track, which is really nice. It's got outdoor exercise machines. I believe it has a basketball court. I haven't been over there in a while, but it's a really nice neighborhood. I love it because I can walk to a coffee shop. I can walk to a supermarket. I think it's a super cute neighborhood. And for people looking for new affordable apartments, I definitely recommend it. Yeah. And as I said before, I love the people. Everyone's very friendly. It's, you know, my mom is from Michigan, and one of the things I love about Michigan is everyone says hello to each other. If you don't know them, you just, good morning, how are you, hello. And that's a big thing that I notice in my area, in my district. It's like everyone's like, good morning, how are you, hello. And so it's just very nice and like sweet little area. Yeah.
That's amazing. No, and that being that acquaintance, right? And just being polite overall, just saying hello and good morning, good afternoon to everyone. Something that you don't see unless there is community usually around that area. So that you could feel it with those conversations with your neighbors, right?
Yeah, and it's really great. And there's always, like, especially on Monticello, which, to be clear, Monticello isn't in District 29, but Monticello is where I work, and it is a part of Bergen Lafayette. But there's always like someone screaming on one end of the street, oh, hey man, how's it going? Oh, hey, how are you? And like pretty much everyone knows everyone. You know, it's so nice. And, you know, I really like the neighborhood. The Heights will obviously be my childhood home. But, you know, I think Bergen Lafayette is going to be like the next cozy, sweet area to live. And, you know, I definitely recommend the parks and just coming to hang out and checking out the local business.
Yeah, I love the parks that you just mentioned. And I wanted to ask, just because we're wrapping up right now, can you tell us just something that you want to make sure that the voters know, something that also on the issues that matter to you in your neighborhood? We covered some, but just want to make sure that you get that moment to just give that final share of the live stream.
First and foremost, I want my voters to know that I am not just some person coming in and taking over and pushing you aside. I feel like a lot of people are scared when someone new is running, for office. It's like, well, who are you? Where, they don't know you. I want to be clear that I am someone who just wants to be, the microphone or the megaphone for you. My goals are your goals. And I'm someone that I like to work with what is already there. As I said before, I want to build upon what's already there. And I just want you to know that I just want to be your voice. I don't want to take over your voice. I don't want to take over your neighborhood, but I want to be that access point, and I want to be, your information station, so, I just want you to know that you have access to your local government, and that you have, there are resources that you have, and I hope to provide those resources so that one day maybe one of you can choose to run for committee person or just get more involved in your neighborhood. And, yeah, vote for me, Column B.
Yeah, vote on June 8th.
June 8th. Column B, 14 and 15, I'm running with Vera Marino. She is also running for committee person for District 29. And as I said, our goal is just to be a voice for you, and, to let City Council know what you need and what your goals are for Bergen Lafayette, and how we can make it, a better neighborhood without just moving out the neighborhood or changing it in a drastic way. Yeah.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it. And if there are any questions, people can leave it in the comment section. And again, thank you so much, Celeste. We'll be in touch. Keep the hard work going. Love the vibes. Love the energy. Love the conversations with the neighbors.
Thank you for having me.
We're almost there. All right. We'll talk soon.
I hope to see you all on June 8th. Bye.
Bye.